I have my first audition of the new year today, and I'm very excited. I still need to work on the scene, but I'm just getting like all ready so I can dive into it immediately. But oh my gosh, I'm untangling a necklace. It'll be the death of me. Okay. So I picked out my outfit, which I think is kind of cute. It's very fitting for the scene. It's almost giving The Woman in the Mummy. It's like, I don't know, cute librarian kind of vibes, and that's almost like kind of what the character is. Happy-go-lucky and nerdy is kind of the description of the character, which is kind of me, so it's kind of perfect. So now I'm just picking out my jewelry and assembling that, and then I'll start working on the scene. But I thought it would be fun to take you guys along with me as I prepare this audition, especially since it's the first one of the year, which is super exciting. I don't think I've had an audition since November or something like that. Got Sabrina Carpenter stuck in my head this morning. I usually like gold jewelry, but I feel like she's kind of giving silver, which I don't know. It's always weird with like high neck shirts, like how jewelry lays. I don't know if I like that. Maybe that'll work, and then I'll get my earrings and we'll see. Got these pretty ones for the jewelry. Her jewelry all picked out, and then I'm gonna start the scene in these, which I think will be fun and very, I don't know, on the nose, but sometimes you have to like spell it out. These are my blue light glasses that I have, and I honestly don't use them enough, but I really, really enjoy them whenever I do. Sometimes, like if I'm working a long day, I'll even put them on whenever I'm just watching TV, because I just feel like a huge sense of relief anytime I'm wearing them. I also, before I do anything else, should really eat something. I'm kind of feeling peckish. So that's probably my first order of business. I only have a little bit of time before Travis is back from his class. So I'm trying to really hustle, but really be attentive as well. Because it's okay if I'm working on it whenever he gets back, but I'd rather have it done. But I do need to eat something. Unfortunately, this is where I film. So I'm going to have to scootily poot all of this stuff out of the way, which sucks. Okay, so I want to do the scene seated, so I think I've cleared enough of a path to be able to see. So I use this light behind me, kind of just to make the background more dynamic. And then of course I have two lights that face me. This is an incredibly tight squeeze, and it's making me uncomfortable how ridiculous this room is. Ugh. It's very overwhelming how much stuff is in here. We'll deal with it. We gotta roll with the punches. Okay, the next step is to record the audio of the person that I'll be playing against. I record my own audio, and then I either pitch it down or up depending on the character who's supposed to be playing against me. It's also a good way to run your lines against somebody. I swear, sometimes the hardest part about an audition is whenever they ask you like something interesting about yourself. It's like, what is interesting about me? Maybe I'll talk about Onyx Storm coming out soon. I'm being really excited to read that. I don't know, is that interesting? I guess so. Ugh, I'm so like sniffly today. I mean, I have been since the end of Vlogmas for like a month now, but it just makes me feel like I'm gonna sound wrong. I don't know, you just get in your head about certain stuff. I feel like I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff to like put off actually filming, but I'm feeling very anxious. I'm feeling very nervous. And my usual tip is just to try to navigate that into like excitement. I also feel like I'm dressed for shiz. I just caught sight of myself in the camera. Look at that. Let me see. I look like I'm ready to go to school at shiz. Test. Okay, anywho, I'm really anxious about this audition and I'm putting it off, but part of me wants to sit down and journal a bit about how I'm feeling. And maybe that'll get some of the like anxiety out of my head and just onto the page, and sometimes that just makes me feel better. But first off, I have to record this audio. That's it. One of the things that I have been doing lately is taking a few passes as I'm learning the lines while over enunciating, and I think that just makes my speech a bit more clear whenever I am getting into the audition, because whenever you take a break from acting for a bit, I have experienced getting a bit of like mush mouth. I'm not as practiced at enunciating, and I think in filming myself, I can identify my mush mouth, and I've been able to work at counteracting it, and it's something that's obviously important for performing, is to not have mush mouth. Your Honor, I'm afraid she's ready. Let's see, what time is it? It's 12:05. I think I'm okay without journaling. I'll journal after, but I think I'm ready. First audition of the year! That was a good note. Thanks. We did it. Sometimes I forget to... I love finding a flaw in my makeup after I'm done. Often I forget to film the slate. I've even changed out of my audition clothes and have had to start back again. So I think it went well. I think it took me more takes than I would have liked, but I really wanted to get the comedic timing down of what I wanted to kind of get across, I guess. Oh, I guess I can show you my lighting setup. Okay, so I have these two very bright box lights. I don't know, I want to show you, but it's also really bright. So I have these two really bright box lights, and then I have this behind me, and it just sort of like makes the background more dynamic. And then of course I have my trusty old tripod, and today I was my coworkers and my co-stars were my Christmas decorations, so that's fun. But I think I don't know, it's really tough because this seems like a role that I would have a lot of fun with. So sometimes whenever you have something that you're auditioning for and you're like, I'm not as interested in this one, it's almost easier to like let it go. But with this one, I'm like, this would be really fun, and it's a pretty hefty like paycheck, and it's not, I don't really like commercials as much, and so this is actually a feature film and not a commercial, which is the majority of my auditions. But I'm still working on my relationship with commercials. I know I need to learn to appreciate them, and I'm doing better than whenever I first started, and that's all I can ask for myself. So I have to cut this footage down and get it sent off. So that is a good feeling to have that done. I work today and I have another crock pot meal that I'm gonna start, so I've gotta do that soon. But it is a good feeling to have this audition done. So I just hit submit. So it's out of my hands. I feel like whenever I have an audition, I just get so inspired and have so much fun with it. It's not that I dread it leading up to it. There's parts of it that I dread. Like, I have a fear that I won't be able to memorize information again. I don't know where that comes from. It's almost like those nightmares you have where you like forgot to go to class or something like that. Like I am afraid that my brain will no longer be capable of memorizing information. So I don't really love memorizing that part of it. But once I do my first take, I'm so invested and so interested in it that I'm like, where's my next audition? Where's, the next film I'm gonna record? Like I'm fiending for it, I love it so much. I don't know if this is where I'm going to end my vlog or if I'm going to keep going. So if this is the end, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this inside look into like what my process sort of is. I've found a way of doing my auditions that are very concise. There's like not a lot of fluff to it. There's a very set process that I follow. Step one is reading over the scene. Usually I try to do that out loud, and then I record the audio so then I can start memorizing. And how I memorize is I will read it alongside the audio, start getting the words in my brain and my body, cut out my lines, and I just listen to the other person's lines and I respond back to them, usually alongside with the script, and then I start trying to veer away from the script. A lot of my acting process, I could definitely train other people and I could definitely tell you about my process, but I feel like it's a very mental process for me. It's not necessarily me writing in the sidelines character thoughts and ideas, especially whenever it's just like one scene, one line. Like I can have discoveries in my head, but I don't necessarily have to put them down on the script, like with where I'm at right now. I could definitely do that if I had a whole script and I needed to remember all of my discoveries, but right now that just happens in my head. Unless I'm finding it difficult to get into the scene, then I go back to some of my acting techniques from whenever I was growing up. But right now it's pretty much just instincts and things like that. I am reading a book right now that has called me out on just following my instincts, of like, okay, it's wonderful that you can follow your instincts, but let's try to look at some other ways of exploring those instincts. So I'm really enjoying that book, and I'll talk to you guys more about it later as I venture into the book, but I'm really liking his approach to acting. I think it's a very, just approachable way. It's a very intuitive way, cut the nonsense sort of approach to acting. It's the book How to Stop Acting, and I don't know who the author is, but it's How to Stop Acting. Let's see, so I will then work on the lines, and then once I have the lines in my head, I get ready, do light costuming. Really, I don't have like a ton of clothes, I feel like, so I don't do too much costuming personally. I just follow the vibe of the character, but usually the vibe of the character is me, a branch off of my own personality, I guess, because that's the nature of film acting. You're building the character off of yourself, and you're finding parts of yourself in the character because you're the one creating it. Writers give over a lot more authority on characterization in film, but writers do not give up line readings as much. Like you have to be by the word with film. For the most part, there are very particular people. So that is very important. So memorization becomes very important in the film world, especially if you're considering somebody like Aaron Sorkin, who was what my film instructor, what he had done in his career was work on Aaron Sorkin a lot. So that was the basis of our learning, our film learning, is that you need to be by the word. You also look at Greta Gerwig. She's also very by the word. So if I want to be working with Greta Gerwig, then I need to be very on it and precise with my words. I do my setup, which usually takes kind of a minute to do. And then I start putting it on its feet. And I do probably more takes than some people, but I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. That's where I'm getting I'm making discoveries. I have like a very precise vision in my head of what I want the scene to, like how it needs to be executed. And so I'm going to continue to do that until I feel like I have landed on that moment. I'm not gonna submit something that I don't feel had that click. I don't know how to explain it, but you know whenever it's done. I feel like it's the same with writing. I know whenever it's done, and if it's not done, then I can't stop thinking about it and I can't stop working on it. It's something that like you sort of like chew on in the back of your brain. I feel like that's not right, that didn't sound right. And then throughout that process, I have the vision of my execution. And so I will get that take, but then I find something else. And I'm like, okay, let's add that in. That's a fun layer. And then once I've added that, maybe I find something new, and you finally come to a take where you're like, that is the one. That's the money that feels wonderful. And then that's the take that I submit. Then I transfer it over to my computer, edit it down, just meaning trimming all the ends. Of course, I forgot to mention doing the slate and anything else that they ask for, because I always forget that. It's always great. I always try to review the casting note before I film. I read every word once I get it. And then I read, well, usually once I get it, I briefly go over it. I'm not ready to look at this right now. I just want to get into the scene. So usually I'll read the script before I read the casting note, but I will thoroughly read the casting note before I start filming. And then I read it once more before I send it in. That's always good because you never know if they ask for like a specific wording for how they want you to send the video in, or maybe they want it on .mov or .jpeg, or not JPEG, but whatever, you know, different like video files. And then I review everything, make sure everything's right, and then I send it in. So that's sort of like my process lengthily talked about. I don't know if that's gonna be the end of this vlog, but if it is, I really appreciate you watching. I really hope you enjoyed getting an insight into my audition process. If you want me to talk about anything further, please just let me know in the comments below. Please like this video if you want to see more of it. This is, I don't know, I just think it's fun. Subscribe before you go too, and I will see you guys in the next one, but I might hang around and talk a little bit more. I don't know. Or maybe I'll just start the next vlog. This is just a side note, but I feel like I really do love doing vlogs. I really love doing get ready with me's. I love sharing about my audition and writing process and creative process. I've been dabbling in doing other videos, but I just don't feel like they've done as well, and they take a lot more work, which is fine. But if it's gonna take more work and then it's not gonna reach like the audience that I want it to reach, then I'd just much rather continue doing the vlogs that I love, the get ready with me's that I love. Like, I love just talking to you guys, and I feel like there is information I want to share with you guys, knowledge about my process and how it can help you. I think that's what I'm gonna stick to. I might just go to, I was gonna do 2 videos a week, but I think I'm just gonna go back to 1. And then I think I'm gonna do a whole bunch more shorts because that seems to be doing really well on my channel. That's how a lot of you guys have started following me, so thank you for subscribing. So I think I'm gonna do a lot more shorts and 1 long form video a week, and I think that's the current plan. So we'll see and go from there. But anywho, I appreciate you watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Love you. Bye.
Miscommunication, silence in between. One more awkward conversation where we don't say what we